Probably about like early high school, I realized like, hey, like I'm keeping up with everyone else my age and I'm really competing. Like I'm doing well. I'm going to like the big meets, I'm traveling places, and like I was finishing in the finals all the time. And I'm like, you know what? Like I think there's like a possibility of there being a future in this sport for me, despite the fact that I had cystic fibrosis.
Cystic fibrosis, it's a life sentence. It's something that you have when you're born and you carry with you your entire life.
Well, so I was diagnosed at 2 months old when I was born. I was failure to thrive.
Cystic fibrosis is an autoimmune disorder, so your body reacts to try to protect yourself. But it not only affects your lungs. Lungs are what you hear of most often, and the lungs are really the targeted area, but it also affects your cardiovascular system, your pancreas, your liver, a lot of other body systems.
So it was like later on in high school when I was talking to my coach and I realized like, hey, like I could compete in college. I could swim in college and actually be competitive with the people that I'm swimming with.
Kelly was a recruited student athlete, so she came in her freshman year as a freshman swimmer, and she actually came to us fairly early on in the season. I was looking over medical documentation and saw that the box for lung issues or cardiovascular pulmonary issues was checked, and I asked her, well, Kelly, you might have checked this box accidentally, going through the process. And she said, oh, no, I have cystic fibrosis. And I think I had to pick my jaw up off the floor. And I said, well, but you're a competitive swimmer. And she said, yes, and I have cystic fibrosis.
She never mentioned it. She never said that she's dealing with any sort of adversity. It was just business as usual for Kelly. To maintain the very high GPA that she has, to go out on her own and find an internship, and to maintain the heavy schedule that any athlete, whether it be swimming or another sport, has to take. And then on top of that, manage an illness is just simply amazing.
She has a routine before she ever starts her day that would put many of us in a very difficult, if not depressed state. And Kelly is so upbeat and so positive and just so forward-looking. She enjoys life and she's made the most of it. I think she's an inspiration to all of us.
And every morning I do about an hour of treatments in the morning, about an hour at nighttime. I take about 40 pills in the morning and night and about 30 throughout the day.
You have two choices. You let it beat you or you decide to beat it. And I think she's taken it on.
When I started swimming, my doctors pretty much told me and my parents, like, it's good for her, but just be aware that she may never be that good at it. She might fail, she might not be able to compete, things like that. And so I think that that got to me, and I think that would get to any child with cystic fibrosis, that like they want to live their life just like any other person out there.
I had all of these limitations in my head of where her wall was going to be, and Kelly every day just blew that wall away.
It was a perfect storybook ending for her senior year of swimming. She obviously had some major surgeries on her liver, gallbladder, and sinuses right at the end of her junior year in May. And she had to basically take the full summer off.
Because I was under for so long, I then ended up getting pneumonia in both my lungs, which pneumonia with cystic fibrosis is actually a very deadly combination. But I knew that like I had to fight through it and that I had to be strong in order to get through this. Luckily, I was. I had to take a few months off of training and swimming and competing and everything.
And for any swimmer to take a full summer off leading into the season, it's tough to come back. And she ended the season with best time after best time after best time.
I was ready to race. I knew that this was my last ever time like in the pool racing with like my team and everything. And so I think that really got to me. And then I just was like, hey, like give it your all right now. Like this is the last one, fast one pretty much.
Every time she stood up on that block, she threw down another best time.
Any expectations, she's just destroyed them.
She goes to class, she does her work, she gets great grades, she swims.
Again, it just goes to her character and her ability to persevere and just fight through it.
It was just incredibly exciting to watch.
Swimming throughout college and stuff and being successful really shows people with CF and other conditions that you can do it, despite what your doctors say, despite what the studies show, that like you can push through it, like mentally, physically, you can get there as long as like you really work for it. You want it bad enough, like you can do it. I proved to myself that like I could do it and I did well, and that's all that I wanted to do.